So here we are at the Italian capital to decide the 10th anniversary season of the world's most competitive junior motor racing series, and it is the tightest fight we have had in years. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Long Valley. Yes, this is the Vallelunga circuit. This is round 7, the championship final between Casper, Arvid and Ugo. 34 cars on the grid for race 1 here this morning. As you can see, a packed grid. The championship fight, also the Rookies Trophy and the Women's Trophy. We'll get to the outright title fight in just a moment, but we are going to hear from one of the rookies to kick us off here this morning, Rashid Al-Daheri, who is about to speak to Laura Cola. The Emirati is speaking to Laura. Let's hear from him now.
Rashid, looking to finish well your rookie year, particularly here in Rome, which is almost a second home for you.
Yeah, I must say it's very nice to be here in Rome. I spent a lot of my time in the karting days, quite a lot here, so it's always fun to be close to, let's say, almost home. So yeah, it's amazing. Also, we're always trying to push for the final races of the season, try to get as high positions as possible and finish the year strong.
Thank you.
Yes, the Emirati from Abu Dhabi, who did grow up here, actually speaks perfect Italian with a very strong Roman accent. He'll be looking to finish the year on a high. He is one of the rookies in the title chase. Also the Women's Trophy. Let's hear from Aurelia Nobels, who is third in the Women's title chase.
Aurelia, everyone is looking at the championship between Casper, Arvid and Ugo. However, the fight for the Women's Trophy between you, Tina, and Victoria is still wide open.
Yeah, I think it's a nice championship. Yeah, to show everyone that girls it's possible to be competing with the men's. It's an advantage that I'm starting in front of the girls, so I will try to keep like this, to gain some positions and to win the Women's Trophy.
Thank you.
The Brazilian-Belgian, a menina do Brasil, that is Aurelia Nobels, has been a good strong title fight. Victoria Blochina is on 283 points in the Women's Trophy. Tina Hausmann, 274. And Aurelia, that we just heard from, she's third in the Women's Trophy on 215 points. And also an appearance from the F1 Academy driver from the Philippines earlier on in the season, Bianca Bustamante. We heard from Rashid Al-Daheri as the 1 minute board goes up. But of course, all eyes this weekend on the outright title fight between Casper, Ugo and Arvid. Yes, the poll starts on pole for race 1, race 2 this afternoon and race 3 tomorrow morning. Car 37, grid 1, Tuka out of grid 2, Ugo out of 3 and a good performance, Brando out of 4, Zach and Akshay also for the US racing team. Arvid second in the championship but 7th on the grid. Then the Jamaican making his second race debut at Alex Powell, James on the 5th row of the grid. It's Wharton and Agozzi. Race winner from Imola, the Tuscan, Nicola Lacorte. Ariel Elkin, a good qualifying performance, fighting this weekend from Ariel Elkin out of grid 12. Jack Beaton, Rafael Narak, Matias Ferreira, Matteo Quintarelli out of grid 16. Freddie Slater, Gianmarco Pradel, that's Rashid Al-Daheri, who starts alongside Aurelia Nobels on the 10th row of the grid. Set off on the formation lap. David Larini, Alfio Spinner, the Sicilian, Fiendler Wabelhaus, Ricky Lou back on grid 24. Giacomo Petrini, Kabir Anurag, Tina Hausmann, Kamel Marad, the Sydney sider making his debut in the Italian series. Out of grid 29, another series debutant, Shimo Zhang, Victoria Blochina, who leads the Women's Trophy. She's out of grid 30. The impressive young German, Tom Callender for the German team, PHM Racing. Guido Locchetti, Diego Della Torre, and Ethan Isha on the final row of the grid. So the cars are on their formation lap. This 4,085 metre Roman circuit built back in the late 1950s. Track action actually delayed slightly this morning by heavy fog, which clouded the circuit here to the north of Rome. There is Matias Verheda going through, the Alpine F1 Academy junior driver, a South American. James Wharton going through in his penultimate Formula 4 race. James from Melbourne, who won the United Arab Emirates Formula 4 Championship at the start of 2023 by his own admission. Not the best run in qualifying for James Wharton on the 5th row of the grid. Of course, he has won twice As you get a look at the driver's standings to the bottom right of your screen very briefly, let's speak about that. How can we not? This is the tightest championship fight we have had in years. As Matteo Quintarelli, the Emirati, warms up the Pirelli tyres on car 93, Kasper Stuka, 258 points, 1.5 points ahead of Arvid Lindblad. Arvid, who had a strong run midway through the year, had a 100-point lead, but he's second in the series by 1.5 points, and 18 points off the championship lead is the American Ugo Ugachukwu, who has also won twice in 2023. Arvid with 6 race wins, Kasper Stuka with 7. Kasper is the championship leader. That's Freddie Slater going through ahead of Gianmarco Pradell. Fast Freddie, 77 of the Van Amersfoort Racing Team. A better run in qualifying 2. He starts back on the 9th row of the grid alongside Gianmarco Pradell, one of 4 Australians in the field who took his first podium, P3 in race 1 at Mugello. The Australian alongside the Englishman. Let's not speak about the English beating the Socceroos 1-0 last night. Let's remember, though, it was only a friendly. The Brit alongside the Aussie on the 9th row of the grid. Great to have your company wherever you are watching all around the world. This is the championship decider, the 10th anniversary season of the world's most competitive junior motor racing series, the Italian F.4 Championship, presented by WSK Promotion, together with ACI Sport here at the centre of the Roman Empire. This is Vallelunga. Kasper Stuka to the bottom left of your screen. Tuukka Tappinen to the right. 34 cars on the grid for the championship final. 3 races to decide the title for 2023. The pole starts on pole position for the first race here this morning. Flag flies at the back of the grid. The 5 red lights for the first time this weekend here in Rome. We race. Fantastic start from Ugo from the 2nd row of the grid. He gets the jump on Tuukka Tappinen. Goes wheel to wheel, goes side by side with Kasper Stuka, who now gets some momentum as they go racing down his long straight through Cortavone for the first time. Ugo on the outside of the pole sitter. Kasper puts the car in the middle of the circuit. Ugo tries the high line. He's done it. What a pass by Ugachukwu. Goes position 1 in car 3. The pole sitter Kasper back into 2nd place. The fight is on. There is Arvid in the middle of the pack. And now Kasper Stuka tries to repeat what Ugo did to him just a few hundred metres earlier. He's on the outside. He needs to be careful here or he'll lose a place to the Finn Tuukka Tappinen. Kasper Stuka in 2nd place. Look in the background. It looked to be Nicola Lacorte locking up, getting airborne. Sits in behind Brando Badoer. Relatively speaking, a clean start for race 1 here this morning. Ugo, position 1. Now Kasper has to defend as they go down into Semaforo. Up the inside, Border runs into the back of Brando. Not once, not twice. They're both out. Border in the gravel. It will be amazing if Brando can continue on. He was belted, hit twice as they come through Torrentino. There's Ferreira on the outside of Pradell. The championship is not over yet. Kasper is back into 3rd place. Tappinen in 2nd. There is Spinner up the inside of Rashid Al-Daheri. And the Sicilian, who was on the podium in the first round of the championship at Imola back in May, gets the run. He comes down the start-finish straight, looking to break inside the top 10. Super start from the American. Ugachukwu goes position 1. Tappinen 2nd. Stuka 3rd. And it's Zach David, super start from James Wharton. There is Arvid on the charge as well. The Brit 2nd in the championship, 7th on the road. Rashid Al-Daheri just ahead of the Jamaican Alex Powell. Then it's Spinner, Ladini, Aurelia Nobels, Matteo Quintarelli, Rick Gilou and Finn Webelhaus, the series debutant. Pradell on the inside of Ferreira. And just behind is Freddie Slater, who tries to get the run on Rafael Narak, who gets sideways, runs the Englishman off the road. Freddie's in the grass. Look at this at the end of the first lap. Border, not once, not twice, 3 times, in fact, smack into the back of Brando Badoer. But it's the 2nd New Yorker who finds the grass. Brando may be lucky, may be able to continue on 31. with a broken front wing, and there is Freddie Slater. Was in position 15. He'll lose some more places as they come across to complete the second lap. This is the S's. This is the end of lap 2, and Ugo with a lead of 0.6 of a second. Tuukka Tappinen. Then it's Kasper Stuka. That's Zach David behind his teammate. The Filipino behind the pole, the Finn in second place, but it's the driver from New York, USA who goes position 1 and pulls out a lead of 0.7 of a second. Super start from the American. The championship is not over yet. Down into Chimney 1, there's James Agozzi on the inside of car 29, Ethan Isher. Ariel Elkin, it was in fact the Israeli who had a good run in qualifying this morning, or yesterday I should say, starting out of grid 12. Into the pits comes Border for a new front wing. The US racing team not quick to go to work. They know unless there is a safety car coming out onto the circuit, he may actually have more damage because they weren't rushing to put a new front wing on that car. There is Agozzi. Behind Ariel Elkin, there is Lecorte, race winner from the first round of the championship as well. His father Roberto waking up very early on the other side of the Atlantic as they prepare for the Cetilar racing team to race in Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta. The Cetilar team doing a superb job to get that Ferrari 296 back on the circuit after a big crash in free practice. Nicola in car 47, race winner at Imola. Just behind the American, James Agozzi. There is Brando, so it looks as though no damage to the Italian's Van Amersfoort racing car. The Venetian behind the Tuscan, the driver from Miami, Florida, just ahead. There is the championship leader. Third on the road, it's Kasper Stuka. The gap, 0.7 of a second between the two Prema racing teammates. This is Kasper, P3. 1.5 points ahead of Arvid Lindblad, who's now up into 6th place as he goes by James Agozzi. Ugo with a 134.579. Pole position for Stuka, a 33.903. So that is a cracking pace in the early stages here for the McLaren junior driver. Third in the British Formula 4 Championship last year. His penultimate Formula 4 race. There is Nicola Lecorte there. The Tuscan on the inside of the American James Agozzi. Watch Brando in the background, so no damage for Brando Badoer. Lucky to still be in the race. He's in position 9 ahead of his Australian teammate. There is Jack Beaton, also trying to take the American. Pradel, Fajera, Narak, Slater has recovered from being pushed violently into the grass earlier on. No damage to car 77. He's ahead of the Jamaican Alex Powell, who's going to slip into view in just a moment. Agozzi defends. That's Badoer in car 15. The tightest part of the circuit. Torrentino, the little curves. There is the front wing of Bora's car in the grass. Pradel ahead of Fajera. They go through the S's. 45 is Jack Beaton, who will start grid 7 for race 2 later this afternoon. His countryman, Gianmarco Pradel, the Sydney sider, one of 4 Australians in the field, on the podium at Mugello in his rookie season. Second season for Tuukka Tappinen, he's in 2nd place. And Ugo Ugachukwu, the gap comes down ever so slightly as Zach now. That will be encouraging for the US racing team. In position 4, his teammate just ahead, Kasper Stuka, the championship leader. This will go down to the wire tomorrow morning, the 10th anniversary season of this, the world's most competitive junior motor racing season. Here in the Italian capital, Elkin is up into position 7. Super drive from the Israeli for Jensen Motorsport, who of course won this title in 2016 with the Argentine Marcus Siebert. Elkin is actually on the back of Lindblad. There's Nicolai going through ahead of James Brando just behind. And then Jack on the attack. It's Beaton from Pradel, Fajera, Narak, Slater, Powell, Aldehedi, and Il Siciliano Alfio in position 18. Into Semaforo literally translates as the traffic lights corner because it is the slowest part on the circuit, one of the slowest corners in Italian motorsport. The front three starting to bunch up just slightly, down to 0.6 of a second. There is Casper, position 3, pole position for race 1, race 2 this afternoon, and race 3 tomorrow morning. Comes across the line, we'll check the gap, stays roughly the same. He's done his best lap though at 34.425, so marginally faster. There's confirmation at the bottom of your screen. Now gets some momentum. Remember, his teammate Zach David just a few laps ago also going quickly in car 20 for the US racing team. Slater sends it down the inside big time. Cop that, he says to the R-Race GP driver. Rafael Nadak has to give the Brit space. Aggressive from the European kart racing champion Freddie Slater, with a huge future in front of him, the former World Kart Racing champion. Off the grass earlier on, that puts him up into 13th place in this 34 car field. A clean start here this morning. The only retirement is Border, who lost the front wing. He's still parked down in pit lane, so there was more than just a front wing damaged on car 31. The second American, the second New Yorker is out. Tappanen catching up to the back of Uga Chulko. Stuga, the championship leader, needs to be so careful here. Works the wheel beautifully. Accelerates and catches the back of the Prema duo, who go 1-2. Ugo third in the championship. I speak too soon because Kamal Maradi is down into the pits as well. The driver from Sydney making his debut in the Italian Championship. The AKM Motorsport team go to work on Kamal's car. There is Casper. The gap stays roughly the same. He is the fastest driver on the circuit at 34.425. Down through Chimney 1, Chimney 2. This 4,000 metre circuit built back in the late 1950s. It is Prema 1, Prema 2, US Racing 3rd and 4th. As Tuka now has a look at the back of his American teammate. Not the fastest circuit on the calendar, just over 200 k's an hour as you look at Arvid Lindblad, who's up in a 6th place, trying to chase down his Prema teammate. That's Jimmy James Wharton, twice winner in the series. The gap between himself and Zach David, 1.8 seconds in car 20. So a clean start, probably the cleanest start we've had all season, to be honest. Here in the championship final, the 2023 Italian F4 Championship. Ugo Ugachukwu. 240 points to 256.5 to Arvid coming into this championship decider. And Casper on 258. There's James in the background. Arvid Lindblad, what a drive from Ariel Elkin for Jensen Motorsports. The driver from Haifa, who, well, we can't ignore the fact he has been hugely distracted by events in the Middle East this week, but putting that aside, concentrating hard, driving superbly, and the Israeli up into P7 in car 29 for the Swiss Jensen Motorsport team, ahead of Lacorte, Agozzi, and Brando in P10. Casper trying ever so hard to just get to the back of Tuka Tappanen. There's Zach David, Wharton, Lindblad, Elkin in the background, superb. Down through the gearbox. Ugo just rides the ripple strip on the entry ever so nicely. Decisive style, driving style from the American. Goes in deep, turns aggressively, keeps the car straight on the exit. Gets a good run. There is Tuka Tappanen, car 8, the former World Kart Racing champion for the Tony Kart Racing team. And Kasper Stuka. All these drivers going wheel to wheel over the past half decade in WSK World Karting. Tuka Tappanen, as we say, the Ferrari Junior for the Tony Kart Racing team. Ugo Ugachukwu, WSK Supermaster Series champion. Kasper Stuka, firstly for the Polish Speed Kart Racing team, and then with the Swedish Wood Racing team driving a Tony Kart. James Wharton for Paralin Motorsports. Arvid Lindblad, WSK Supermaster Series, WSK Euro Series champion for the Kart Republic team. The Red Bull Junior for the Prema Racing team in P6 and still second in the championship. down through Cordovorne, absolutely flat through 6th gear as they race down to Chimney 1 and Chimney 2. Brando at 34.297. So that's what, just 0.3 of a second after the qualifying time set by Casper Stuhlgren qualifying last night. The sun coming out to shine after that heavy fog. The championship, the virtual championship at the bottom of your screen. Giacomo Petrini going through. That's Kabir Anurag and Tina Hausman fighting for the women's trophy. She is second in the championship, the women's trophy championship in Tina. Is Tina on just 9 points behind, 274 to 283 on Victoria Blochina, who is leading the women's championship for the PHM racing team. Victoria, the Muscovite in car 78. There is Aurelia Nobels, the American-born Brazilian-Belgian. Had an up and down year, a big accident a couple of races ago. She's tough, this girl. She's quick as well. Racing in a couple of rounds of the Brazilian Formula 4 Championship in 2022 to prepare for this attack on the Italian Series. The Brazilian Series, the sister series to this, the Italian Series, as we welcome Gaston Fraguas, series manager for the Brazilian Series, the 1995 World Kart Racing champion, when he beat Jensen to the line at Valence almost 3 decades ago now. Gastal managing the Brazilian Series where Aurelia raced in 2022 and sending quite a few South American drivers to race with us in the Italian Series, as Tina Hausman has a look at the Singaporean Kabir Anurag for US Racing. Another fastest lap for Brando, 34.223, started grid 4. Was muscled into the grass on the early stages of the race. In the top 10 now, in position 9. Kasper closing in on the back of Tuukka Tappinen. The gap, though, between Ugo and Tuukka is almost a second, 0.9 in fact. Kasper, position 3, does not seem to have the speed in the first of 3 races, the championship final here at the Italian capital. Zach David, P4. He's pulling away from James Wharton, and Arvid Lindblad seemingly helpless is the Red Bull Junior in position 6. Elkin superb, Lacorte, Badoet, James Agozzi, and it's beaten Pradell, the 2 Australians ahead of the Brazilian Ferreira, Slater, Powell, the Englishman from the Jamaican, then it's Nadak, Aldehedi and Larini, the Tuscan, the second generation racer in position 18. The field spread out. Trouble-free race here this morning. Kamal Murad, incidentally, has rejoined the race, down in position 33, a lap down. But the rookie from Sydney still circulating in car 6 for AKM Motorsport, who will be back along with all these teams and a couple of new ones for 2024. These happening just a few moments ago, coming onto the straight, into the gravel. One of the Jensen Motorsport cars, it looked to be Ethan Isher going very wide. And again, as we said at Mugello, that is how you deal with track limits. The gravel on the outside of the circuit, Ethan had no choice but to get out of the throttle, bring the car back onto control, self-policing, and he's back in the race. Stuka still cannot get by Tappinen. He's been caught though by his teammate as they come out of the slowest corner on the circuit and on the calendar as well, into the second half of the first of 3 races to decide the title. The gap is 1.1, almost 1.2 seconds. Ugo in P1, 1.3 now. Ugo Chukul, the championship is far from over, 18 points behind Kasper coming into this round, but he'll pick up 25 if he can take his first victory of 3 here this morning. Of course, the Formula One point scoring system, 25 for a win. As we look at Brundle with a big move down the inside of Lecorte. And he makes it stick. Nicola, to be fair, gave him space. Lost the place. Brundle is the fastest driver on the circuit. He's now up into P8. Next in line for the Italian is the Israeli Ariel Elkan with his best performance of the season with the self-designed Arai helmet. Have a look at his Insta and check it out. I won't say it's a work of art. Let's say he just saved €1,000 on an expensive paint job. The DIY, do-it-yourself paint job from Ariel Elkan. It's working because he's in position 7 for Jensen Motorsport. As the Prema duo continue to lead, Casper can't find a way by. The former World Kart Racing champion goes in deep. Ugo is 1.3 seconds. There's Zach on the back of the championship leader, his teammate Kasper Stuka. Now the sun is coming out to shine. Heavy fog clouding the circuit here north of Rome this morning. It did late proceedings, official practice for the Italian GT3 Championship. Putting us about half an hour behind, but we're back on schedule here for this final round as Ugo tries to keep the championship alive. 1.1 seconds, so Tappanen takes a couple of tenths out as he tries to defend from the championship leader down into Chimney 1. Ugo pulling away a superb performance. Down the start-finish straight, there are the speeds to the bottom right, just over 200 k's an hour. This mid-speed circuit. As we look at Guido Lucchetti, lock up the front left in spectacular fashion. The third Tuscan driver in the field for the Airflow Racing team, Pensati Racing, overseen by Gianfranco Fantuzzi, former team manager for the Minardi team, and then, as it was then known, Toro Rosso, Formula One team, and now overseeing the Airflow Racing team. Great to have them on the grid as Guido Lucchetti down in 32nd position, and most likely with a heavily front-spotted front left. At that corner where he locked up just one lap ago, Kasper Stuka gets close to the back of Tappanen. Ugo is pulling away. We're into the final third of race 1 of 3 here, the final round of the 2023 championship. Ugo turns in decisively. This is La Roma Curva, or the Roman corner, facing south, and now they head north. Downhill on the mains finish straight here, start finish straight here at Vallelunga, through the right-hander, through Corvone at 212, 213 k's an hour. Not the quickest circuit on the calendar, which is also, you may be surprised to learn, not Monza either. It is Imola. Aurelia Nobels went through the speed trap at 253 k's an hour at the season opener at Imola, 249 at Monza, and just over 200 at this mid-speed circuit that was built back in the late 1950s, hosted the Roman Grand Prix right up until 1992 when it was won by Alessandro Zanardi in the magnificent Formula 3000 class, driving a Reynard 92D. But I digress as we look at the battle for second and third. Kasper Stuka, every point counts here. Tuukka Tappanen, one of 6 race winners in 2023. Ugo looking to take his 3rd win of the championship. Kasper Stuka has won 6 in a row. Came from near on 100 points back to lead the championship by 1.5 points coming into this, the final round of the 10th anniversary season. We'll start from pole position for races 2 and 3 here. There's Zach David, slight correction on the exit of the S's. Loses time to his teammate. There's Wharton, Lindblad, and Elkan, superb, still in 7th in the background. We start lap 15. The gap is 1.3 seconds. Ugo, 3rd in the British Formula 4 Championship in 2022. His penultimate Formula 4 race, of course, the final round of the European Championship. The Euro 4 Series. We'll see you in Barcelona, Spain in 7 days' time. As we look at Ferreira with a big move down the inside. Makes the attack on Jack and beaten into the grass. loses a place. The Queenslander back into 13th. He's ahead of Powell, Slater, Narak, Alvehedi, Lardini, Quintarelli. Spinner has dropped down to 20th ahead of Ricky Liu, the series debutant, Finn Fablehouse. Another series rookie, Shimo Chang, the second Chinese driver, ahead of Aurelia Nobels, Ethan Isha, Giacomo Pedrini, Anurag, Houseman, Calendar, Blockina, Diego Della Torre. And the final runner is still Guido Lucchetti in car 63 for Airflow Racing. Slight correction now from Tuukka Tappinen. Through the S's, torturing these Pirelli tyres. Remember, they've got 2 sets of tyres from the outset of qualifying as Casper locks up the front right. We won't call that an error, but that is the first indication that he's actually on the edge here and not just content with third place. Ugo, 1.1 seconds. Tuukka Tappinen catching his teammate. He can't win the title, but he can win the race here this weekend. The Ferrari Junior chases down the McLaren Junior, who's in P1. There's the championship leader, the all-in-back pole, who's won 6 in a row. Zach David in P4. Then it's the second Ferrari Junior in the top 5, James Wharton, who's come from the 5th row of the grid to be in position 5. Ugo works the steering wheel towards the end of the first race here this weekend. The McLaren Junior, overseen by Emanuele Pirro, the former Grand Prix legend, the 5-time Le Mans 24-hour winner, arriving here at the Roman circuit. His home circuit, in fact. And Manuela, he'll be pleased with this if Ugo can bring this home and keep the title fight alive until race 3 tomorrow morning. There is Kasper Stuka. Quite cool here this morning, quite cool conditions. We just mentioned the fog a few moments ago. We are expecting beautiful sunshine and 28 degrees Celsius for race 2 this afternoon. The 14th day of October, the final round, the 10th anniversary season. The battle is between the driver on your screen, Casper in third place, Ugo in position 1, and just flashing onto your screen in the background, ever so briefly, car 23, Arvid Lindblad, who led the first half of the championship. In fact, he did lead up until Emil Mugello 2 weeks ago. Those 3 drivers, one of those 3 will take the title here this weekend. Andrea Antonelli, of course, winning the 2022 championship as Casper now locks up. It's close to the back of Tappinen. Just over 4 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. Trying to add his name to the winners list, which includes Antonelli from last year. Ollie Behrman, who tested for Ferrari, their Formula One team, or the Formula One team at Fiorano. He was the 2021 champion. Mini a year prior, then it was Dennis Hauger, the Norwegian for Van Amersfoort in 2019. Then we go back to Enzo Fittipaldi, the IndyCar Rookie of the Year, the Kiwi Marcus Armstrong, Siebert for Jensen Motorsport. Ralph Ferron in 2015, and the inaugural champion was the Canadian Lance Stroll for the Prema Racing Team. Back in 2014, it will be either Ugo, Casper on your screen, has a big look at the back of Tappinen, and still Arvid is not out of this either. 1.4 seconds. Ugo is pulling away from this battle for second place. Still Brando, by the way, the fastest driver on the circuit in P8 ahead of Lacorte Agozzi. The Floridian, car 48 for PHM Racing in P10 from Pradel, Ferreira, Beaton, Powell, Slater. As now we start lap 18, 1.5 seconds. Ugo is pulling away from Tuukka. Casper has to be careful. Third place is obviously much better than a DNF, but he wants the second place points as well. Closes in going into Chimney 1. So much support from Eastern Europe. The Polish driver looking to become a Polish single-seater racing superstar, following in the footsteps, of course, of Bobby Kay, the all-in-back driver. P3, close to the back of Tappinen, who closes him off. Just glances at the mirrors. Does the Finn in car 8 for the Prema Racing Team. The Ferrari Junior in P2. There is Zach back in P4. Stuka is right on the back of Tuukka Tappinen, almost close enough to make a move. It has to be decisive, it has to be clean, it has to be perfect. Otherwise he risks running off into the grass and gravel which surrounds this 4,085-metre Roman circuit. Goes deep under brakes. Does Casper, turns in gently, tries to keep the momentum on the exit. Slight correction, he loses time there through the S's. Back to Zach in P4. Ugo will check the gap, it was 1.55 seconds last time. 90 seconds plus 1 lap remaining. It will be close to see if this is the penultimate or the last lap. Or the third to last lap, I should say. We're expecting this, word from race control, the next to be the final lap. The gap down to 1.1 seconds. Casper loses time to Tuukka Tappinen. Nothing the championship leader can do. He will still take the title lead just going into race 2 this afternoon, with Lindblad still stuck back in 6th place. There's the Red Bull Junior behind the Ferrari Junior, James Wharton. Elkin superb in P7 from Brando Badoer, Lacorte and James Agozzi. No slipstream from Ugo Ugachuku and still 1 kilometre an hour faster than his chasers just behind. Stuka, 3rd here this morning. It looks as though that's the best the pole can do. Hard under brakes, out of a semaforo or traffic lights corner. Slight correction there from Tuukka Tappinen, and now they accelerate up through the S's. Zach David falls back. Now he's working the wheel aggressively as Kasper Stuka. A perfect clean driving style. But with these tyres nearing the end of their life as the 30-minute board comes out. Now we expect this to be the last lap of the race. They just crossed the line in time. And yes, this is l'ultimo giro. The last lap of race 1. Ugo with 1.2 seconds over his teammate. Casper can't do anything about the Finn, nor the McLaren Junior in P1. Zach David falls back into 4th place. It will be P3 for the pole, almost certainly. P1 for the American. His father Luca here at the circuit. His younger brother Marco watching on from the early hours of the morning from their hometown of New York, USA. Ugo about to take his 3rd victory of the season. You would almost certainly think this is the last lap as Kasper Stuka closes in on the back of Tuukka Tappinen. One last chance for the pole. Ugo will not make a mistake. Mentally as tough as any driver in the field is the American. The McLaren Junior in car 3 with that super start. Took the lead around the outside. Comes out of Semaforo. Tornantino, the slowest corner in the championship, accelerates through the S's. Stuka still back in 3rd place. Into La Curva Roma, the Roman curve for the final time. Turns in, and the checkered flag is about to wave. Car 3 goes position 1. No, the championship is not over yet. Don't discount Ugo Ugachuku, who wins race 1 from his Prema Racing teammate Tuukka Tappinen. Kasper Stuka still holds the championship lead in position 3. And it's back to Zach, Wharton, Lindblad in position 6. .5 seconds the winning margin from the American back to the Finn. In one of the cleanest races, thankfully, we've had probably all season. No safety car intervention. Aurelia Nobels crosses the line. And she takes victory in the Women's Trophy. So the Women's Trophy is not over yet either. I'll say that again. The battle for the Women's Trophy is not yet concluded either, between Victoria, Tina and Aurelia Nobels, who wins the Women's Trophy ahead of Tina Halsman and Victoria Blochina. There's the race winner, Ugo Ugachuku, from the United States of America. The McLaren Junior with a perfect drive, a brilliant start from the second row of the grid. Car 3 starting on grid 3. He leads home his Prema Racing teammate. A form finish for the team from Vicenza, trying to keep the title hopes alive. This on the last lap of the race. Nobel's down the inside of one of the gents of motorsport cars. There's Giacomo Pedrini running into the back of Ethan Isher. Tina Hausman crossing the line just behind Giacomo Pedrini. Ethan Isher minus the front wing just holds on the final lap of the race. Ugo takes his third victory of the season, and the championship fight is still alive. Tuukka Tappinen P2 and Kasper Stuka, the championship leader, still in third place. And we go to Zach David. Good drive from James. Arvid Lindblad P6. Super performance from the Israeli Ariel Elkin. Inside the top 10 ahead of Brando Badoer, Lacorte and James Agozzi. The final position inside the points. Fastest lap of the race for Brando Badoer, a 1:34.223. Must be ruining that poor start when he was muscled off the road. Started on grid 4. He'll be back for race 2 this afternoon. He's got a quick car. Don't discount him. He can't take the championship, but he can upset the apple cart, so to speak, and put himself up onto the podium. He'll be starting near the front of the grid for race 2 this afternoon. Kasper Stuka will start from pole position again. The new podium here, American NASCAR style, appropriately enough, into victory lane for car 3. How cool is this? Here at Long Valley, Vallelunga. And the American into victory lane and will stand on the top step of the podium in just a moment. Yeah, we could understand that, Ugo. Unfortunately, or fortunately, most of you didn't. There is Emanuele Pirro, the Roman who oversees the McLaren Junior Academy, here at the circuit this morning to see his boy take victory in race 1 and keep the championship alive. The simple silver bell helmet comes off. Ugo Ugochukwu, a perfect start. That's what won him the race. Third place for the championship leader, Kasper Stuka. Unable to do anything about Tuukka Tappinen, who came home again on the podium. In second place did the Ferrari Junior. But his third victory of the season, 25 points. And keeps the championship alive. He's down with Laura Cola.
So congratulations, Hugo. Very important win for you.
Yeah, it's really important at this point in the championship. I was starting in P3, and knowing Stuka was starting first, I was going to need a good start and a good race to be able to beat him. And I got one of my best starts ever. Managed to get the lead on lap 1. And yeah, from there on, I was just pushing as much as I could to extend the gap. Yeah, really happy. I would like to thank the whole team. Been working really hard coming into this race, and I think going into the next 2 races, we have a chance to fight for the championship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Race 1 here at Vallelunga, one of his best starts ever, as he just told Lauda a moment ago. If you don't say, from the second row of the grid, launched around the outside of the pole setter, Kasper Stuka. Went wheel to wheel with the US racing driver and then muscled his way on the inside, and from there nobody would catch the American. Kasper tried, as we saw one of the Prema cars going wide over the ripple strip in the background. It was a clean race, with the exception of this border into the back of Badoer, who recovered from that to set the fastest lap of the race. Ugo Ugochukwu, the gap was 0.4 of a second. Ultimately, he would win by well over a second. in what was thankfully a clean race here in the championship decider for the 10th anniversary season of the Italian F4 Championship. Tuukka Tappinen unable to do anything about the speed of his teammate, who pulled away, could not even get the slipstream, and was forced to defend from Kasper Stuka in the dying stages of race 1. Stuka himself, who started grid 1, unable to catch not one but 2 Prema Racing Team drivers. Tuukka Tappinen in second place. Brando, with the almighty charge down the inside, fires it up on his fellow Italian. Fastest lap of the race, finishing inside the top 10, but Ugo, unstoppable, the American, and picks up maximum points here this morning. P1 for the New Yorker. And we'll stand on the top step of the podium in just a moment. Here is the championship standings. Boy, is it getting tight. 273, Kasper still the race leader. Arvid, 263.5, just 1.5 points ahead of Ugo Ugachukwu. So let's be realistic about this. There is 11 points between first and third, with 50 still on offer. 273 to Kasper, 263.5 to Arvid, and Ugo with that superb victory here at the Long Valley in the capital of the Roman Empire. Yes, I had to say that. Still don't get that TikTok meme, if I'm perfectly honest. Okay. Let's move on. 273 points to Kasper Stuka. Arvid Lindblad, 263.5, and Ugo, 262. So 11 points between third and first. There are 2 races remaining. Race 2 later this afternoon, and race 3, the final race of the round, of the year, of the championship, tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock local time. Race 2, make sure you don't miss that. That is at 4:45, 4:45 local time here in Rome. Caput Mundi, the center of what was once the known universe. North of Rome, this is Vallelunga. 50 points still on offer, and there are just 11 between first and third. The podium here for race 1. The all-new podium here at Vallelunga, the Roman circuit, which was a popular Formula 1 testing circuit until about a decade ago. The Lamborghini hypercar team testing here last week as well. And here is the new American-style podium. Victory lane and P3 for the championship leaders still. Kasper in third place. And still P1 in the championship. Tuukka in second is the Ferrari Junior. His third victory of the season, now just 11 points behind the driver on the right. On his left, Ugo takes his third victory of 2023. Mr. Marco Ferrari presents the third place trophy to Kasper, second to Tuukka, and his third victory, his penultimate Formula 4 weekend. Ugo Ugachukwu, P1 here in Rome.
Questo è l'inno nazionale, now it's time for the official photo. Le foto ufficiali per quanto riguarda questo primo podio.
Well, the championship is not over yet. 11 points between first and third. Ugo now 11 points off the driver to his left. Kasper Stuka still the championship leader, but the pole will start from pole position again for race 2 at 4:45 here at Long Valley, Vallelunga, north of the Roman capital this afternoon. Make sure you don't miss it. The final round, race 2 of the 2023 Italian F4 Championship. Thanks for watching. We'll see you for race 2 this afternoon.